Alright, let us begin with the creation of a modern, advanced, and most beautiful music player. This is my project setup in PyCharm. As you can see, the project is not an empty project, like you're not starting from scratch. You can see a utils folder which only contains the background images. I got them from the internet and they are all free to use. I also have two files here, which is the music.py and then the res_rc. The music.py is the Python file for the UI. So in this video, the series, we are not building the UI from the start. Like this first video will not focus on the building of this UI because you can see it's actually complex to take some time to build. So it is at the end of the series that I will show how I built this UI for those who will be interested. But in order to get it started early, for those who may not be really interested in the UI building, that is why I'm providing this file for you. I've already compiled it to the Python file, and then there's also the resource file also here so that we can have all the images showing properly in our application. And how to get this is that you scroll to the description. There will be a link to the starter files. Two links there or more, but you see one for the starter files and one for the source code at least. Click on the one to the starter files. It will take you to this GitHub repository where you have access to the starter files inside this folder called the modern music player. So you just download the modern music player folder. These are all the files inside here, the ones that I've shown in my PyCharm. Okay, so let's start developing. If you have been following my tutorials, you know that I don't like to run this music.py file directly, even though if I run it now, it will actually show the UI, but that's not what I usually do. Okay, so the UI is here, shows us that everything is working, but that is not what I usually do, as I said. So I go ahead and create two new Python files. One of it I'll call main, and the other I'll call run. So the main is what will contain the classes or the functions or the methods that connects to the UI, and then the run is what runs the application. So inside the main, it's just this class we import. Let me make the size big. Import PyQt file from PyQt5.qt widget. We will just want to import star. Then now from music, we want to import the UI music app. And then the class for this one will also be maybe advanced music player. Yes, that should do for this place. So yes, just make sure that you have this code in the main.py file. This class can be anything. And then this UI app is the class for the UI inside the music.py file that I provided. That one too is there. So, and now inside the run.py, what we do is we call the class, this class here, so that you can run our application on it. So, and so that one too, from main, we will import the advanced music player just like this, and then we will start the application. So this is the file that will be running, and so that we will not disturb the main.py file. It's possible that we will be writing functions there, so that may disturb the running of the application. That's why I bring things here. And also I just like to organize my things in this way so that I don't get confused and mess things around. So I know that this is what is running it and this is what is having my functions. Okay, so let me close this side to make things make room for the things. You can see that if I run the application, the title bar is still there. So the default title bar is still there. So the first thing that we do is to remove that title bar and then see how we customize our own title bar to do the things for us. So we just type self dot set attribute, and then what the attribute we want to set now here is the translucent background. So it's be Qt dot, okay, Qt is not imported, so let's just import Qt from PyQt5.Qt core. Want to import Qt. Okay. Qt dot wa translucent background. So this one will give us a translucent background, but we need one more line of code to take away the title bar. So that will be self.set window flags. So set window flag, and then the flag that we want to set window flags. Sorry, Qt dot frameless window hint. So Qt dot frameless window hint. This is all we need, the two we need, and then we will get our window to be frameless, or app to be, the title bar should go away. So when I run it again, you see that okay, it's giving me some error. I think probably because the show is coming after the app is still active, but I'm not seeing it. So let me just stop it from the top here, and then bring this show down. So the show will come down, and then run it again. Okay, so the show should come last, like after everything, then the show comes. So we just try and keep it just like that. But you can see that now if I run it, I can't move the title, the window around. If you try clicking it, it will not work. These ones will work because I already created a signal for it in the designer, Qt designer. So when I close it now, it will work, but we cannot move it around. So let's write the function to make our own title bar be able to move the application around. With that one, we need to get the initial position of the window. And this is how we get it. So we can say self.initial position to be equal to self.pos. So this time to get us the initial position of the window. And then we can now write some functions for that. Function to handle mouse position. Okay, so we will call it mouse press event. It's actually a function inside Qt itself. So you see that when I started typing it, it just came out. And so what we have to remove this act and quack and pass event there. Okay, and then we go like self.initial position. Remember the initial position that we set up there, and then we have to set it equal to the event dot global position. So dot global POS. This will do the trick on the mouse press. And then now inside the init, just after the show, we have to also call another function that will actually move the application. So I can just say def and then move up. This one is not a function coming from Qt, it's a function that we are creating. We can pass in the event as well. And then here we can say if event is event.buttons. So .buttons is equal to the Qt left button. So if the person presses and hold the left button, that is where we want to do this thing. So Qt dot left button. Then we want to perform some actions. Then self.move, we want to move the application by how much? By self.pos, that's the app's own position, plus, so that's if it's at position 0, we want to move it 0 plus something. And what is the plus that we are moving it? Event dot global POS minus self dot initial position. And then the next line we will just say self dot initial position should now be equal to event dot global position, global POS. Okay. And then we finally accept the event. So event dot accept, event dot accept. And that's all that we need to do in this move up function for us to be able to move the window around. And so now we have to connect this move up function to the title frame. I'll be making reference to the UI file as and when necessary like this. So there's a frame up here, all these M bits, and then the minimize and enclose. They have a frame there that at the top is called title frame. So that is what we want to use to mimic our title bar, so that when it is pressed and moved around, then the app will also move around. So self dot title frame dot mouse move event. So mouse move event. Now we want to connect the, no, we are not calling a function, it will be equal to move up. So move up like this. We are not also calling this function also. So this one should be able to move our app for us. If the next time we run it, now if I click and hold, I can drag it around, and then it works just like a title bar would do. Okay, so this is all that you need to do. We are just getting and setting the position. Now let's focus on bringing in some files, because that's obviously the next thing that we will do. So we bring in some files here and then see how we can do the playing of the song. Okay, so let us define add songs. Then files, comma, underscore. This what the function you're about to use will return two things. We are not interested in the other one. That is why I'm using an underscore for it. So that one should be equal to kill file dialog dot get open file names. And then we pass in self as usual, the first parameter. And then now the caption should be equal to add songs. So add songs. Also, we want to set the directory. So the directory if you type the directory syntax like this, what will happen is that anytime you run the application, it will automatically remember the last directory where you want to search for files. And that is, I think that one is handy and very helpful. Instead of passing a fixed directory like the desktop here, that anytime it opens, it goes to the desktop. So I think I like it this way, but if you want to make it an absolute part like desktop, you can also put it here. That one too will also work. And then now the filter, we have to add some filter for supported files. So the filter, let me bring that one on the next line. So Qt supports, I found that it supports this some number of files which I will type in here. So let me just type them and then. Okay, so these are the supported files I found. So these are what will open. So all the files that will open up in the pop-up window for us to select will be restricted to these particular file extensions. So now if files, that is if the user selects some files, then this is what we want to do. So for file, in files, what we want to do now, let's just now put it on the list widget or the window so that we see how it looks like. So self dot, it is called loaded song list widget. That is the widget, the first page widget, the one that should post the imported song. So dot add item, and I want to add file. So we'll come back and modify this, but I just want you to see and understand why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So I'll now come here, up here, and then this is where I define my connections. Okay. So self dot add songs btn. This is the add songs btn. This one here, add songs btn. The green one that will add songs, that will import songs. So that one is what we want to connect. Dot click dot connect. We want to connect it to the self dot add songs. Okay. Now when you run our application, be able to click on this to add some songs. Okay, so I'll go to my downloads. There should be some music folder here, and then yes, open. Now you see that the songs have been added, but this is a full song part to on my system, and that is not how usually music players look like. So what we will be adding now is self dot. We will have to add only the song name to it to make it nice. Let me bring it again. Now you see that it remembers the previous directory where I went. But we still need this full song part to play the song. So we should be able to still keep track of this full song part and also only display the song name here. So let's see how we go about that one. That one will also lead us in creating another file here where we will keep some stuff. So Python file, and then let me call it songs. Okay, here we will have two lists, or some lists. So current song list, song underscore list, equal to an empty list. So we are appending all the raw parts here, or the absolute part here, and we'll be displaying all the short forms, that is just the name of the song in our application. So here it should be, let's first import songs because we'll be using it a lot. So import songs. Okay, and then in here inside add songs, okay, I forgot to give a comment to this one. It's a very big app. The finished app has a lot of lines of code because you can see it's actually complex, so I try to give it comment as much as I can. So add songs to the app, or import songs, whatever. So that one will be songs dot current song list dot append. They want to append file, and then here instead of just appending the file, we will have to append os dot path dot base name of the file. This will give us only the file name. So now let's try it out and see. Bring in files again. Now you see that it's only the file name that are here. So yes, we'll be able to still keep track of it because this order in which the files appear is the same order in which they will appear in the list. So we can just use the indexing indexes, the index of each of these files to get it to work. Okay, but you could see also in the finished version that it's not just the file that appears. There's a nice icon that comes with it. So let's just work on that one also. So in that case, we'll not just be appending os.path.basename file, but we will also want to import, add some do some modification. So that will be QList widget item here. Add item, and then we want to add a queue list widget item, inside of which we are adding a queue icon. So the icon first, and then let me import the queue icon. And then the next item is the path to the file. So what is the icon that we are using here? It's all coming from the resource file directly. So this is the path to the icon that we want to use inside the resource file. So just make sure that you type exactly like I'm typing. That will be imgs/utils images, and then we have music. It's called music list item. Oh no, sorry, music list item .png. So that is the name of the file. So let's run it and see how it works. Add. It didn't work like we expected it to. What is the problem? Oh, this is not imgs. This is img. It's just img, not imgs. Sorry about that. Okay, now you see that we have our beautiful music icon appearing with each of the song. That's great. We are making progress. And so this is all that we need to do to import files. I think we should be done with this function. And then the next one, obviously, is to try and play the song. So let's try and then play the song, at least so that we can see that the primary purpose for the app is done. So self.play song, define play underscore song. And this is it. So we want to get the particular index that has been clicked inside the loaded song list widget. Use that index to go and find the particular file inside our songs.py list here, and then pass that one to the player to play it. That is the logic here. So it's best always to put these ones in a try step block. So playing song error, then it will pass in the error. But what we want to do now is to come up here before that and then define some global variables that we use to keep track of certain states in our application. So globals is what I'll give as a comment. And then in here we will have something like the one that will check whether the song is playing or is stopped. So global stopped. There will also be global looped. Another one to be is shuffled. We want to keep track of whether the app is shuffled or not, whether the person wants to shuffle it or not. So it's underscore shuffled. We also want to, but the rest we will do it later so that we don't get confused. At least these three will be using them very soon, so it's best they are here. And then the stopped will be false, because when the app starts, obviously stop should be false, and then looped also should be false. So looped, which also should be false, and then it's shuffled also should be false. So it's shuffled also to be false when the app starts. Let's also create the player so that you don't come back to this place for the add songs play song again. So create the player object. Okay. Self.player, as we will call it, should be equal to kill multimedia. I think we've not imported that one. So kill multimedia. Let's import it from PyQt 5.qt multimedia. qmultimedia.qMediaPlayer. Okay, I think the import is not what we were looking for. Import I think we need a qMediaPlayer rather. So qMediaPlayer here, yes. From PyQt 5.qt multimedia, we need a qMediaPlayer here rather. That will be qMediaPlayer here. And then you see when the app starts, we also want to set the current volume. So the initial volume that the app will start with. So let's just call that one also because it's part of it's directly related to the player. We can do that. So okay, we are not setting it now. So we just self.current volume, current underscore volume should be equal to 50. So the initial volume should be 50. And now that we have our player set up, we can call it and then give it some song to play. Here we will first get the index of the song that has been clicked in the loaded song list widget, and then we will find it in the song list as I said. So we can say stop. Let's call the global variable stop here. So the global stopped, and then let's set stop to be false. Okay, it's already false, so I think we don't need to, but let's be on the safer side. So stop should be false. And then we say, so if so the current index, we can call it to, or current selection. Should be equal to self.loaded song list widget dot current row. This should give us the current row, so it should be an integer that we can use to index into the songs list. And then we can say current song equal to songs dot current song list at this particular index of the current selection. So that will give us the full part of the song. That is exactly what we need. And so we can come down here and say song URL should be equal to qmedia content media that one we have to import it. So qmedia content, we import it from qt.multimedia. And so let me hover over it here, and then Python will import it from PyQt 5.qt multimedia for me. And so the URL should be qurl dot, that one too is not imported, so let me just hover over it and import it from Qt core, PyQt 5.qt core. So qmedia URL dot from local file, and then in here we pass the current song. So the current song, yes. Once we get the song's URL in the way that Qt understands, obviously, then we can set the media of the player. So self dot player dot set media. So set media to the song URL. And then finally we can play the song. So self dot player dot play. And that one should play the song for us. So let's try it out and see. Let me give the comments here. So play a song, or play song, just like that should do. Okay, and so we should come back up here, and inside our connections we will add that one also. But even the connections, I think, okay, but I will try and use spaces to separate it because it will be a lot of things. So self.play btn, which is just this one here. It's called a play btn. .click .connect. We want to connect it to self.play song. Okay. Now let's run it and see. Add song. Now let me try and bring my volume down so that in case it's too loud. So when I click on this, it is playing. I don't know whether you can hear it from the background, but the song is actually playing. Let's select a different one and see. Okay, that one too is also playing. So the obvious thing when the song is playing is to let this slider also move. So the next one, let us continue by working on this slider, and then we'll come back to this button here, the play, pause, stop, and next. Okay. So to get the slider to move, we will let's come here and then define the function. That function should be at the top. I think this place should be better. So after the mouse press event, that is where we will create that function. We call it a move slider. Yeah, I think that should be move slider. And then in here we will say if stopped. That is a global stop variable. If the stop, if it is true, or if stop is true, then return. Because if the song is stopped, why should the slider even move in the first place? So that one we have to return. Else, we now want to update the slider. Okay. So we also have to check. So if self, it can be that the song is not stopped, but it's also not playing. It is paused. So if self.player.state, we want to check the state of our player.state equal to qmedia player dot playing state. That is we want to check. So this one will check if the song is playing. And so that is if the song is not paused. Then we want to self.music slider, which is this one. This one is called music slider, a customized slider. So what we want to do is we want to set the minimum value to 0 though. So dot set minimum, yes, to 0. And then we set the maximum to the length of the song. So self.music slider dot set maximum. So how do we get the length of the song? That is just way easy. So self.player.duration will give us the duration of the current media. So set the minimum to 0 and then the maximum to the duration of the song. Okay, so once we've done that, then you can just say the slider position should be equal to self.player.position. So this is also what will give us the current position of the song. So if maybe it's a 1 minute song and it has played, it's currently at the 15 seconds mark, that is the position that it will return to us. And then we can now use this position to set the position of the slide handle here. So that is what we are aiming to do. So now self.music slider dot set value to slider position. So we are getting the slider position by the position where it is currently is, the music is currently is, and then setting the slider position. So this one should work, but it will not, even if we run it now, it will not work because we have to connect this move slider to a particular timer that will update every second. Other than that, it will not work. So that I'm playing it, but it's not working. Even if I call it here, because I should call it here after the play song. So self dot move slider, not move slider. Okay, but it will still not work. If I run it, you see that it will still not work. I have to connect it to a timer before this thing will work. So if I hit play, that is playing, but the thing is not actually moving. So let's just connect it to the timer and then get it to work properly. That one too should be inside our init. After the player object, I think this one can be here. So let's just say slider timer. And then here we can say self.timer equal to kill timer. Kill timer. Okay. Then we have to pass in self. So we have to import the kill timer here from PyQt5.qt core. Okay. And then the next that we will do is the self.timer.start. Sorry, dot start. And here we pass in the value of 100 milliseconds. So that means that every so you see that here it says msec, so it's in milliseconds. So we want it to update every 1 second. That's why we are passing the 1000. And then we can say self dot timer dot timeout dot connect. We want to connect self dot move slider, not move slider. Okay, so anytime it updates, if you call the move slider function, and this one too, like all connections, you just have to take this thing off. So now let's try it out and see. This one should get our slider to be moving. Okay. You can see that the slider is moving here. We have not updated the song this place, but at least our slider is moving. But we cannot drag it to set the song position for now, but at least it is moving. So that is what we aim to do. Let's come back and then work on the updating of the song. That's the position value. So here we first have to get the song's duration, and then we also get the current position of the song, because this function will be updating every second. Once we get that position or the duration of the song, we can also update it every second. Can say the current time equal to, that's the current time of play, so that's where the player has reached. It should be equal to time dot scrf time. We want to automatically convert it, so the format that we will use is percentage %h, we also percentage %m, and then percentage %s. So this one will give it to us in hours, minutes, and seconds. And what do we want to convert to this particular time format? We want to convert time dot to time dot local time, time dot local time, and then we want to pass in self dot player dot position, and then we want to divide it by 1000 because it gives the position in milliseconds, so we want to get it in seconds. And then the next place that we just check is the total time. So we have to get the current time. We also want to get the song duration. So the song duration to just be similar to this one. So let me just duplicate this line. Okay. But this one also converting it to local time, but here will be self.player.duration, and that is the only difference between the two. Okay. So now that this one has been determined, the two has been determined, what we can do is to set this label here to be updating with those times every second. And this is how we do it. So self.timelabel, that is the name of the label there. dot set text, and we can call it inside an f string, and then that will be current time, and then we leave a slash, then song duration. So this one too should be able to fix the timing for us. Let's check it out. So you see that now it's working. The song is, the listener is updating every second, and that is what we want to do. Okay. So let us get the functionality where if you drag the song, the slider in and out, it will automatically also update for to that song, the position where you drag it to. So that one will do it inside the connections. And that will be self.music slider.slider moved. You want to get it as an integer dot connect. And so we want to pass lambda here because it will be a function. So lambda, and then what we want to do is self player dot set position. So we want to set the position of this, the position of the player to self dot music slider dot value. It looks like a lot, but it's actually very simple. Let me explain it. When the slider is moved, we want to get a value as an integer because it already knows its position because we have already set it to a minimum of 0 and the maximum of the song duration in seconds. So when it is moved, we want to connect it to where we want to perform this action. But this action where we are setting the position of the player, that is setting the current song position to the music slider's value, and it is set the value to the particular song position we desire because now the slider itself, the length of the slider equals to the length of the song. So that is how come we can set the value here with ease. So let's see how that one also works. So let me play this one. Slider is updating. Now when I move it, you see that it's playing. Yes. So that's exactly what we wanted to do. With that functionality also out of place, let us move ahead and now work on our these are buttons. Those are the pause, unpause, the stop, and the previous and co. Oh, there's one thing that we also had to do, the song names here. So when we start playing a song, the name should appear here. So let's just work on that one also. That one will be inside the play. Okay. So it's when it's playing that we want to do that. Update current song labels. And that'll be self.current song name here should be equal to, okay, let's just set this dot set text rather inside an f string os dot path dot base name, and then we want to get the base name of the current song up here from the selection, from the song list. And then the next one is current song path. That one too should be os.path, but this one around is not be dot their name, it will be dot not dot base name but dot their name, so the directory name of the current song. So this one too should do. Let's try it out and see. Now you see that it also works fine. So let's go ahead and work on the pause and unpause and the stop. Okay, so pause and unpause. So let's define pause and unpause. Okay, here we will check again. So if self dot player dot state equal to kill media player dot playing state dot playing state dot playing state, yes, then it means the song is playing. So now we go ahead and self dot player dot pause, else self dot player dot play. So you just check if the state is playing, then you pause it. If not, then you play it. So that's the pause and unpause function. Very easy there. And then stop song. Here too we'll wrap it in. So I think it's best, but it's best practice actually to wrap your for applications like this to wrap them in try except block, because anything can happen at runtime. Stopping song error. So here we will come in and then just call self dot player dot stop. Oh, we have not actually defined the function. So define stop song. Okay. And then let's indent this one properly. So self.player.stop. But apart from stopping the player, we also have to set the slider's value to 0. So self.music slider dot set value to 0. And after that, we also have to set the the label here. This label here also to this particular text. That will self.time label, yes, dot set text to an f string. I don't even think I actually need an f string here, but I just love using f string. So an f string of 000000 out of 00. Okay, so that one we will set it to this. And then you remember the song labels, these ones that we set up here. So you can just copy them like this. And then come here, that one we want to set it to. The first one will be current, let me check it from the UI. Song name goes here. Okay, so song name goes here. And then the other one is song path goes here. So goes here. Okay, so this is all that we need to do for our stop function. Now let's go up there and then connect all of them to the appropriate button. So here, let me give as a sub comment to this one. So this one will be let me call it default page, so that I know that these are all the connections that relate to the default page. So self dot pause and unpause, or pause btn, that's the name, dot clicked dot connect. We want to connect it to self dot pause and unpause. Also self dot stop btn dot clicked dot connect to self dot stop song. Yes, this should work. Let's try them out and see. Now this one is playing. Let me pause it and see. It has paused, on pause, then it continues from there. You can see that the slider also paused when we pause the song. That's okay. And let me try the stop and see. Everything stops. Play again. Then it is playing. So now we have that one also working. So let's now work on the next and then the previous. Play next should do. So the next there will be I think there will be the default next, which means that when the song ends, it should move to the next song. There will also be the case where the person has chosen to shuffle the songs. So that will be a shuffled next. There's also the case where the person has chosen to loop the particular song. So that one should be looped next. So we will create functions for all of them. Yes, we create functions for all of them. And then try and then connect them all to one function also. And then see how we will call it inside our application. I'll try my best to explain it so that it will not be so much complex, but I don't think it's too complex to follow. So let's work first on the default nest. Define. Okay, so this is the default nest. So song goes to the next in the, should I say queue? Or should be a better word. So define default. Can I spell the word default? Yes, default next. So when you press next, you just do the regular next. That is what I'm trying to say. Very good place to wrap it in a try except block. So default next error. Okay, here we will say let's just make it simple and build it complex as we go. So it will just be like the play song. Where is it? Where are we playing the song? Okay, so let's just copy up to this place. We will need all of them. Yes, we need all of them. Let's just copy to speed things up. That's our default next, and then paste it in. So this is the current selection. But after the current selection, what we need is the next index. So next underscore index, which will just be equal to the current selection plus 1. And then instead of using the current selection, we just now use the next index here. So this one should do for the default next. Okay, so in order to understand it as we build it, I'll try and then also call the actual next function. So the function that will actually be called when we click the next button. That one will be here. So let's define. That will be the next song function. Okay, so define next next song. So next underscore song. And then we will first check if the song is not shuffled, and also if it is not looped, then we want to just call the default next. So let's call our globals in here. So the global looped, we also call the global is shuffled. Okay. So if it's shuffled is true, for now let's just pass a leaf looped. It's also true. For now let's just pass. We come and work on them later. Then else we call the self.default next. So now the song is not looped, it's not shuffled. let's just go up. When that is the case, just call the default nest which you have created up here. So let's go up and then connect it. Okay. So self.next song or next btn dot click dot connect it to self dot next song. Okay, let's run it. Add in some songs. Now it is playing Feeling Happy. Let me click. Now it's playing Life is a Dream, like you see up here, Life is a Dream. But there's a problem. We didn't change the selection to be on this one. So when you press next, it will still be on Life is a Dream because it is using the position of the selection to determine the next. Okay. Let's work on that one quickly. That will be in the default nest. Okay. And so after this, what we want to do is self.loaded song list widget dot set current row. So set current row to index. So to the next index. So that should do. Let's see. Next. Now it sets it to the next one. But I still think that in a professional grade application, it shouldn't really be, it should not be the selection that should be used to whether go next, because it can be that I'm playing tech house vibes, but I'll mistakenly come and click on this one, and then I'll now play next. When I hit next, it should be playing the Feeling Happy, because that's the next song. But obviously that was not the next song. It was supposed to be maybe a Very Happy Christmas, because that was the end of the queue. So I think we should find a way of getting the song, the current song, and then playing that one. Okay. So let's work on that one. So what we have to do is to get the current media of the song. This thing that I'm about to do here is we are just come to try some things out. So we actually be printing stuff to the terminal. It didn't really come to mind when I was building the other one, but now we have to try it out. So self dot you can say the current media. Current media should be equal to self.player.media. I think that should give us the current. Yes, that should do. And then let's convert it, because if you print this one now, it will be, I think it will be an object. So current song URL. So let's convert it to a path. That one should be equal to current media dot canonical URL, and then we get the path from the canonical URL. Okay. So what we will do now is to try and print this path, because we don't know how it looks like. We have to use it to now do a comparison inside our songs inside our current song list here. So when we compare whichever one that is the same as the URL that is returned, we will now get the index of that one and then add one to it instead of adding one to the current selection, because I can play this song and then go and then select this song, the other one. I just hope I'm not confusing anybody. Let me close out of this. The round 2, we don't need it. These are the 2 files that we are using. Okay, so for now, let's print the current song URL to the terminal and see. So I think I can give you some description. So current media path. Okay. So when we get it and see how it is, then we will use it to now set the song in a more professional way. Okay, now we are playing it. So let me bring it up. When we go next, let me minimize it. It says live result. This is how it returns it. But also let's print the part to the current song from the song list and see how that one also looks like, because we have to make an exact comparison. So you can say song from song list, which is also equal to, okay, no, we can just print that one straight from the you don't need to declare another variable for that. So current media part, or let's make this one current song path, because we know that the media is the one from the player and this one is from the song. We will just delete this ones very soon. I just try and error that we are doing here to just get the things to be more professional. And so this one we have to now call the current song. Yeah, not current song URL, but current song. Okay, let's play it also and see. Add song, and then play. When you press next, you get two things here, but see that, okay, they are all the same with the exception of this / that is leading this one. So what we can do is to get everything of this one from index 1 to the end, and I think so that's what I should do. So let me see, current song URL from anything from the first index to the end, and let's see how this one will also look like, because the two should be exactly the same for us to correctly get the index. I'm sorry, I'm doing this thing by try and error. I didn't factor it in the initial build, so now I have to do it. Type the code like I'm now typing it. I'm not looking on any file anywhere or any screen anywhere to do this one. So now we have them all to be the same, so we can make our comparison. Will it be safe to pass this one on this one? Let me see. Okay, I think it's safe to do that. But why did the thing change? Why did this one change? I was expecting it to be the same. So if it's not the same, so the current media, okay. But once we get a current song, the media part, I think that one alone should suffice. So now what we'll do is check the song that matches this current song URL. So let me delete these ones, we don't need them for now. Okay, so this one too should come to the top. Yes. Let me even cut it for now. So after the next selection, current selection should not be this. Current selection should be, now let's paste this one here for now. And then this one gives us the currently playing song. And what we can do is to get the index of this song from the song list. So I think the current selection cry is not a proper variable name. So current song index. And this current song index here should be equal to songs index, no, songs dot current list, song list dot index. We want to get the index of the current song URL. And so when we get the index of the current song URL, then that's when we can now add one to it. And then, yes, I think all the rest should remain the same. All the rest should remain the same. Yeah. Let's just try it out and see. Hoping that it works and it doesn't delay us. Okay. So now I'm playing Feeling Happy. Let me select Tech House Vibes, the last one, and then click on Next. I'm expecting it to play Life is a Dream. Or let me even select Raising Me Higher. I'm expecting it to play Life is a Dream and not Tech House Vibes. Okay, now it works. If I click on Happy Christmas and even press Next, I'm expecting it to play Raising Me Higher. Okay, so that works. Our application is now in the professional grade. And so now from the default nest, let's work also on the other nest. This is how it is. I like it. I'm learning these new things on the fly. So back to the next one we work on is the looped nest. Let's work on that one, which we can just copy this. And then, so the next function for looped songs. Okay, let me paste it. This one should be looped next. And then, so if looped, then we want to call the self dot looped, not looped next. Okay. And let's go ahead and work on it. For the looped next, I think that should be the easiest of them all, because that one we don't even need we need a current meter that is playing, of course. We need a current song index of the song that is playing, but we don't need to add one to it. So this place, instead of next index, it will be current song index. Yes. It should just remain the same. And then I think the rest all should be the same. So this one will be looped next error, in case there's an error. Yes. So now let's also continue with the shuffled nest here. Can copy, paste it. I think there's a problem with the indentation. Okay. Next function for shuffled songs. So this one should be shuffled nest. Okay. Let's see how that one too goes. We will need the current index, of course. Do we even need a current index? I don't think so. I don't think so. So that one doesn't depend on the current song. In fact, it doesn't even, you can even get this one to be off. And then just call this one song index. So song index should be equal to random. So it's a random dot randint. And I want to get a random integer from 0 to the length of the song list. So the length of songs dot current song list. Yes, this one should do. So just get us any random integer between 0 and then the length of the current song list, and then use that one to play. I think that is it, and should work fine also for us. So can come here and say shuffled next error. But in order to get the shuffled and the loop to work, we have to now set them using this button. So when this one is clicked, the loop is clicked, then the loop will be set to true. When this one is clicked, and the shuffle will be set to true. But you shouldn't allow the user to click both looped and shuffled at the same time. So we put a restriction on one. If one is clicked, then just put a restriction on the other. Okay, so back here, let's call the shuffled next here before we forget. Self.shuffled next. Looks good to me. Okay, so this is the function to loop the song. We'll call it loop one song, or a better name should do. You can guess a better name. As usual, so looping song error. Okay, we have to call all our global variables here. So the global is shuffled, so underscore shuffled. We also have to call the global looped, and then we say if not looped, then that is if looped is false. That's another way of saying it. Then we can set looped to be equal to true. And then after loop is true, we also have to disable the when the loop is true like this is clicked, we have to disable the shuffle so that you cannot click on loop and shuffle at the same time. That will be shuffle songs btn, yeah, this one dot set enabled to be false. Else, that is if it is not looped, then we can just copy. So else, we can just copy these lines and then come in here, say else looped is false, should be false, and then now set enabled to be true, so that we can click on it now. Okay, so let's work on the function also to shuffle it. This should be very similar to this one, and then we can now try out our shuffle and next also. So that one will be define, how is it, the indentation, disadvantages of copy and paste. So shuffle, I'll call it shuffle playlist, and should have all of this. So this one instead of loop will be if it's shuffled, and then we can set the shuffle to true, and then here we say self.looped loop one btn, I think that is it. So loop one btn, that is the name of the button, the btn, the looping button. So it's here, loop one btn. Okay, so yes, this is it. Yes, that is it. That should do. Okay, so let's try them out but you have to first connect them. So inside our connections, here we are still in the default page. So self.loop one btn dot clicked dot connect. We want to connect it to self.loop one song, and then self.shuffle songs btn dot clicked dot connect. We want to connect this one also to self.shuffle songs, shuffle playlist, sorry. Okay, so now let's try it out. I know we've typed a lot. If there's any error, we'll come back and fix it. That's why we put the try except things over there. Add it. Okay, play. And then let's click on this loop. Now I see that the shuffle is off. Then let me click on next to see if it will play the same song. It is playing the same song. Now let me make the shuffled active rather. Play next. You see that it even skipped the life is in a dream. The life is a dream to play the raising me higher. Next. 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 Okay, I only have 5 songs, that is why it appears not to be working, but you could actually see that it was working. So if you have like multiple songs in the playlist, so many songs, that one will even work best. And so once we are done with the next, we just have to work on the previous, because it appears to be the only one here that you have not worked on. So the previous also, which you have guessed right, should be just the that one. No, you cannot be shuffling previous. No, so to just that one will just be one previous song. So that one will just copy. You can just use the default next to create that function, because it shouldn't be, if you want to shuffle or loop, it should be from the next song. But if you can also customize this application, after all, you'll be coding it at your end to become yours. So if you think that the previous should also have the shuffle and then the loop, that is fine. It's up to you. You can just do that. Okay. So here will be previous song. Previous song. Okay, so all that we have to do here is to subtract 1 from it. That's all. Yes. So let's connect it. After the next btn. So this one maybe previous. Yes. So self.previous song. Let's run it and see. And that one is working. But there's one problem. Now that we are the top here, if I click on next, it goes to tech house vibes. That is very intelligent of the player. We have not even set the functionality for that, but it was able to do it. Okay. I think it works. The previous works without we actually giving the functionality, but the next doesn't work. So let's just create our own functionalities for us, just so that we can also set the current selection also. So that's one. Inside the next song, let's start with the next and shuffled next. Okay. The shuffled next, we will not need this one for the shuffled next. We will need it for, we will not also need it for the looped next. We will only need it for the default next, so that when the song is at the end of the list, it will just automatically switch to the first one when you press next. So that's what we want to do. Inside our default next, we are getting the song fine, and then this is the index. So after checking the index, what we can do is to say if current song index +1 equal to the length of songs dot current song list, then yes, the next index, next underscore index should be equal to 0. What this line means is that, Python indexing starts from 0. So the index of the this one that we'll be getting will be a value between 0 and then the length of the list, the actual length of the list as we will count it from 1, 2, 3. So if you want to get it in the way that we count it, then we have to add 1 to it, because the length, if there are 4 items in the list and you call length on it, it will tell you 4, not 3, to tell you that there are 4 items in the list. But if you access the index of the last element of the same list of 4 elements, to tell you that the index is 3. So if we want to check if the index is equal to the length of the list, then the last index on the songs that we have loaded, if there are 4 songs, will not be 4, it will be 3. That is why I have to add 1 to check it. So if that one is the case, then set the next index back to 0. Other than that, then the next index, again, equal to the current song index here plus 1. Sorry, plus 1. So, okay, we could have just gotten it from here. Okay, so this one should do. Let's just try it out and see. Next, and this one I'm expecting to move the first one, and yes, it moved. So we have that one working, and let's implement the same thing for the previous also. So I think we can just get it from here like this, and then the previous song, yes. So I think we can paste it here. Yes. Why not previous index? that one sounds better. So okay, so previous index. But this one will be the revert. I think this copying and pasting will not really work for this one. In this case, we first have to check that if the current selection is equal to 0. So this one I think will be way easier than this. So if current selection equal to 0, then the previous index should be that is, if the current selection is equal to 0, that means that we are at the top. If we want to go to the previous one, it should be the last one, which should be equal to the length of, you can get it by the length of songs dot, not songs dot current song list, and then minus 1. Remember, we are subtracting 1 again because the index of the song in that we have loaded now, the last index, which we are trying to now set the selection on, should be equal to the actual length of the list minus 1, because that is the index. And if there are 4 items once again in a list, and we are trying to access the index of the last element, it to be an index of 3, but the length itself will be 4. So that's why we are getting the length and subtracting 1 from it. But if that is not the case, then the previous index will be current song index, obviously minus 1. So this one also should work. Let's see. Okay, play. Okay, we have all those functionalities working. Now let us work on this remove and then move one and remove all, and then probably know that we are almost done with this page, except the add favorites and then the volume control. Okay, and then this one. So let's work on these 2 buttons first. So that will be remove one and then remove selected and remove all. Okay, so let's now come here. So remove 1 or move selected song should be the best. Move selected song will define remove selected song, and this one would be let's wrap it in a try except remove selected song error. Okay, this one we have to also let's implement that check even. So if we want to implement an intelligent check, so if self dot loaded list widget dot count so equal to 0. So if there are no songs that has been loaded and you click on the button, we should show you some message. So kill message box dot information, self as the first always, and then we can now say that that's the next is the title. So remove selected song, and then here we can say playlist is empty. Okay, and then return. Other than that, then the current index should be equal to self.loaded song list widget dot current row, and then that one we can take it out. So we can remove using this index, we can remove it from first of all the loaded song list widget itself, and then the song list that we are calling from our songs.py file. So the first one is self.loaded song list widget dot take item. We want to take an item at the current index, and then songs dot current song list widget dot pop at the current index. Okay, but after that one is done, we will select it to remove it. So you see that now there will be no selection, but I don't think that should cause a problem. It would have caused a problem if we use the selection for the next and the previous, but because we have worked around it, that one should be okay. But it's still professional to set a selection after you remove the current song or the one that you have selected, because in that case the selection will go. Let me just connect it to show you what I mean. The self dot I think should be removed selected song. Let me check the name in the UI. It says delete. Let me copy it from here. So self dot delete selected BT, and that's the name. Dot click dot connect into self dot remove selected song. That should be the name. Yeah. Okay, so now let's run it out and see. If I try to click on it, it tells me that playlist is empty. So yes, that one is cool. Come here, select raising me higher and delete it. Okay, let me see. Okay, it's automatically set the selection to the next one, which is great. So we don't even need to worry ourselves with that implementation, which is great. Okay, so now, but what if the index is 0? I think it will still work around it. Now let's work on the removal of all songs. So that one will be very similar to this. We can just copy it. Remove all songs. Just want to check if it is empty, we will return. Other than that, we also want to ask a question, because before we do the removal, so question equal to kill message box dot question self as always, and then here will be remove all songs. Okay, and then the question will be, this action will remove all songs from the list. And it cannot be reversed. \n continue, so continue, yes. So, and then we pass in some standard buttons. So the buttons that we want to show on this are the kill message box dot yes, and we also want to show, now we indicate them, we separate them with a pipe, this pipe symbol. So kill message box dot cancel, but I want the default to be kill message box dot cancel. Okay, so this one will do, and then we can come and say if question equal to kill message box dot yes, then in that case remove everything. So the song should stop playing, of course. So self dot stop song, and then we also have to clear the list. So self dot loaded list widget dot clear, and then songs dot current song list dot clear. Okay, I think that is all we need to do, but let's remove these ones from here. Okay, so this one too should work. Let's go ahead and then connect it at the top. And let me check the name of this one again. I can even copy it from here. So dot delete all songs btn dot clicked dot connect to self dot remove, I think do you call it remove all songs. So let's try it out and see. First of all, let's start playing. And then try to select a different index and then delete. It works. Okay. Let's try to delete every song so that the pop-up is here. Cancel. Yes. Okay. It also works. So we've done most of the functions here in this page. And I think this should be the end of this, the first part of this series. And so the next one, we will continue with the volume and then see how we will navigate the screens. We also see how we will add songs to favorites and all that. So thank you very much for staying along up to this point. I know it has been a lot to take in, but I hope I explained concepts well. If you have any question, you can drop it in the description, in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer you. Also, there will be the source code to this also in the description. So if along the line you are facing any challenges, you are at liberty to click on the link to the source code, which will lead you to a GitHub repo. Do your best to start the repository. It really gives me motivation to create amazing content. And then if you have not also subscribed, do well to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next parts of this series and also other interesting series will be popping up in the notification area. Don't forget to turn the notification bell on. So I'll see you another time with the next part of the series. Bye for now.